Continuing with our facts series, this week we're looking at probably the most normal of all the male characters we're able to play as in the Fatal Frame games, Amakura Kei. He's genuinely just a regular guy doing his best to save his family and friends. So let's head on in and uncover some facts about him. 1. Kei was born in 1962. This makes him 26 during the events of Fatal Frame 3, and he canonically survived that game, although he's sadly never mentioned again, so we don't know if he's still alive or what he's doing in the present timeline of the series. 2. Being Mio and Mayu's uncle, he also shares in their last name, Amakura, which means sky and warehouse or storehouse. However, because it's Mio and Mayu's father who was a descendant of Dr. Aso, not their mother, who Kei is related to, Kei himself therefore isn't related to him in any way. 3. Kei's first name uses the kanji for firefly, generally read as Hotaru. It's interesting to point out, however, that it uses the old kanji for firefly, and not the more modern one. And these days you're apparently not even allowed to use this kanji for names anymore. 4. As I mentioned before, Kei is Mio and Mayu's uncle, related to them through their mother, Shizu, who is his older sister. These siblings have a bit of an age gap, as she's said to be 35, while Kei is only 26. Presumably the siblings are on quite good terms, as Kei was the one who looked after Mio and Mayu while their mother was sick in the hospital as well. 5. Kei is also good friends with Hinasaki Mafuyu and Asol Yu, connecting him directly once again to the two biggest families in the series. Kei mentions working with Mafuyu and Takamine Junsei, and although it's unclear how exactly he and Yu met, being that Yu is also friends with Mafuyu, that was likely how they became acquainted, as all three men are heavily involved in research. 6. On that note, despite being involved heavily in research as a non-fiction author, Kei doesn't seem to be that heavily invested in folklore, as he mentions in one of his letters. Lately, I've solely been researching folklore, legends, folk tales, and folk religion. That was both your and Mafuyu's field, wasn't it? It's an interesting world, but I don't want to get too deep into it. What gets Kei into it, of course, is trying to find a cure for Mio's sickness, unaware that she has fallen victim to the tattooed curse. 7. Originally, Mio was intended to be the third playable character in Fatal Frame 3, marking the first time the main hero from each game would unite in the one story. But the devs felt that Mio's story didn't really have anywhere else to go, and trying to develop anything further would likely cheapen what they felt was already a powerful and complete story. People had been asking for a playable male character in the series, and so they created Kei. 8. When it came down to Kei's design, he went through several iterations before they finally settled on the design you see in-game, although, in the end, they were less concerned about the small details of his outfit, compared to Dei and Miku. 9. Gameplay-wise, Kei was designed to be weak, an everyman, compared to Miku and her strong sixth sense, and Dei, the main protagonist of the game. The idea behind his gameplay was to force you to hide and utilize special shots to get kills, making his gameplay even more tense and thrilling. It's for this reason that they designed him as rather slim as well, as this is a game where you should be afraid of the ghosts, and not feel like you should be punching them to death, something they feared might happen with a playable male character. 10. Kei doesn't have a particular theme color like other characters, but according to Shibata, his keywords were rapid fire, hiding, and unlucky with women. As Shibata further says in an interview on the official website, all the women in the Manor of Sleep love to chase after him and cling to him, which he thinks is a scary but happy situation. This also ties in with the fact that men are not supposed to be in the manner of sleep / Kuze Shrine, leading to a constant sense of intrusion and danger that you could be grabbed and expelled at any moment by the women inside. 11. Kei contracts the tattooed curse while looking after Mio, who is the first one affected by it in their family. This curse, like an actual disease, is infectious, and that's how he ends up in the manner of sleep as well. Of course, his research into the manor only makes that worse, and it's while directly visiting the remains of Kuze Shrine, the physical remains of the manor, that he finds a camera obscura left there long ago by Kashiwagi Akito, a folklorist and friend of Dr. Aso. When Mio has war flashbacks upon seeing the camera, he quickly hands it to Yu, before it eventually ends up in Nei's hands for the game. And shortly after this, Kei has his first dream of the manor. 12. Speaking of Akito, just like Mafuyu and Kirie's unnamed lover in the first game, Kei bears a striking resemblance to Akito, who visited Kuze Shrine in the past and had a child with Kuze Kyoka. In fact, when Kyoka's spirit comes across Kei in the manor, she mistakes him as her former love and gets angry over how he abandoned her, not knowing that he was killed shortly after leaving the shrine by her own mother. It's never stated that Kei and Akito are actually related, however, and is mostly used as a plot device, similar to Kirie keeping Mafuyu alive, simply because of his resemblance to her former lover. 13. When attacked by spirits, Kei's tattoos appear as indigo, in contrast to Rei's blue tattoos and Miku's red tattoos, with each of those matching their respective theme colours. Being that Kei wasn't given a theme colour, his is simply a mix. In Kuze Shrine lore, indigo ink was made from the blood of the dead. 14. Kei is unaware of his friend Yu's death as he's busy investigating the manner of sleep, and being the mid-80s, they weren't exactly all walking around with phones. It's not until he finally calls the house that he hears the news, and then he visits directly shortly thereafter to pay his respects, and work with Nei to put their information about the curse together and find a way to break it. He believes that impaling the priestess will put her back to sleep again, but unfortunately, when he finds her in the Chamber of Thorns, he discovers that her physical body is still staked, and the stakes do nothing. Deika is able to remove them at will, and she attacks him for entering her chamber. 15. Depending on your choices in the game, there are two endings for Kei. In the first, Kei succumbs to the curse and disappears, turning into a black stain on Nei's couch. This is the ending you will get the first time you play the game. However, if he has Kaname's earring with him, something you can only carry at this point during your second playthrough, Deika spares him, and he simply ends up in a coma. He wakes up once Nei breaks the curse. This is the canon ending. We also see through the true ending of the game that Kei goes back to Minakami Dam with Mio once she also wakes up, and then he brings her back to introduce her to Nei and Miku for the first time as well. 16. If you hang around Kei while he lies in a coma on Nei's couch, you can hear him muttering about Mio and Mayu, asking them not to go, and also Yu and Mafuyu, also asking them not to leave him behind. That manner of sleep sure is a busy place. 17. This is the last we ever see of Kei in the series, but he was originally planned to return for Fatal Frame 5. In a manner of speaking. Kei was originally intended to be Miyu's father, having married Miku after the events of Fatal Frame 3. The idea was that Miyu would be incredibly powerful, being the child of two important families in the series. But ultimately, that story wasn't working how they wanted it to go with everything else happening in the game, and so Kei was scrapped. Instead, they moved that story to Mafuyu, Miku's dead brother and Kei's old friend. 18. Kei is voiced in Japanese by Oda Yusei, who again has been working since the early 1990s and has been in countless popular anime and even other video games, like Digimon and Warriors Orochi. 19. In English, he's voiced by Josh Keaton, who you may know as Ocelot in Metal Gear Solid 3, Iron Man in various Marvel games, Dick Grayson in various Batman games, Peter Parker in various Spider-Man games, and just way too many roles that I could comfortably list here. 20. Kei is our first male character to have costumes in the series. If you clear the game once, you can unlock his navy yukata, and if you clear the game again, you can unlock his orange yukata. And in the Fatal Frame 5 remaster, they also added Kei's default outfit as a costume for Hojo Den. So, in a way, you can kind of pretend you're playing as him again. And that is 20 facts about Amakura Kei, the father who almost was. But what did you guys think of this one? Are there any other characters or games you'd like me to explore? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.